Hallelujah.
Yes.
That is great.
Yes.
Whew. God is so good. He gave us all this month, seasons and things that so we don't supposed to wonder what's going on. And the first time I ever found the Messianic congregation in New York, because the Lord was very specific, trying to let us understand very strongly that we must know His times. And, His times are in our Bibles. And the calendar, the biblical calendar is right there in our Bibles. But, we are creatures of, we like just to repeat things. And sometimes we repeat the things we're not supposed to repeat. And so if I ask you what's the next month after Adar, it will be, see, it should be right, it's Nisan, right there, yes. Yeah. Right after Nisan is? So yeah, it's happened to me too. It's not just you. I'm not trying to blame you. The Lord is stepping on my toes as well. Anything I'm going to say, if you feel like I'm stepping on your toes, the Lord stepped on mine before. So, I'm here because I'm small. You won't see me if I'm down there. I'm equal. I'm just like you, the same thing. And so, we are in Rosh, Chodesh, Adar, the month of rejoicing. We're supposed to rejoice today. And for various reasons. Not only because it was a Holocaust was avoided many, many years ago, but we're going to see some, the first time I saw the book of Esther, the first thing they told me many, many, many years ago was that God is not there, but it's hidden between these and there. But as many years pass, I'm looking, and you know what? It's there. And Messiah is at the same time. And types of Messiah are in the book as well. We're going to see that. I'm going to try to give you the short version of all the things I've been reading. And this is like, again, 50 pages, and I'm not going to give you 50 pages, but I really encourage you to read. Read, and if you don't like to read, audiobooks are now very popular. So, just get there. Get there and spend time with the Lord, with His Word. I know there's many things to entertain us, and it's nice to be entertained. You like sports? Yes. You like politics? Yes. You like the news? Yes. There's nothing good in the news, but anyways, if you like them, it's okay. I like the good news of the Lord. And so I spend the majority of my time in that. But I also like entertainment. I like movies and things like that. But, yes, spend time with your families and so on. But quality of time, you'll find it in your Bibles. Whatever version you have, it's okay. So Adar is a month of rejoicing. Rejoicing Adar is the happiest, most joyous month of the Hebrew calendar. In fact, its motto is, when Adar comes, joy is increased. You should rejoice every day. But increase your rejoicing when Adar comes. I'm going to see why. And so in Hebrew will be Mechanichnas Adar Marbin Besimcha. When Adar comes, joy is increased. And that's in the Talmud. We're going to see some scriptures today. These scriptures is where the Lord mentions, or where the Bible mentions the month of Adar. Now in the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's command and edict were about to be carried out, on the very day when the enemies of the Jews hoped to gain the mastery over them, the reverse occurred. Jews gained mastery over those who hated them. Hate is something that is very popular, and it's been very popular for the human beings, unfortunately, and it's something we gotta overcome. Hate is something we're not supposed to repeat. And the other portion, the other text I wanted to show you is in Ezra 6, 14, 16. And the elders of the Jews built and prospered through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo. They finished their building by decree of the God of Israel and by decree of Cyrus and Darius and Artaxerxes, king of Persia. And this house was finished on the 3rd day of the month of Adar, in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king. And the people of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the returned exiles, celebrated the dedication of the house of God with joy. So it was a double, triple blessing right there. That's in Ezra. Ezra is a very important book for us to read. Most of us don't like to read those books, but this book is really, really very important to read for us to understand our Messiah content. That's what I call it. And what are we? I always like to show you what are we. This is where we are. Starting it from the month of Nisan, if we are counting from the biblical times, this is the last month of the biblical calendar. And so you see Adar is right there at the end, which means we end up the groups I was being teaching about, the four groups of months that are connected to each other for different models and different things. Sometimes Adar in leap years, not lived by the Gregorian calendar, but lived by the Jewish calendar, it goes, sometimes it goes Adar the second, Adar Shabbat, which is a leap year. This year is just one Adar. So I've always talked to you about the spiral ladder going to heaven. Anytime we do a biblical festival, it's like getting closer to God. I mean, we should just follow whatever we should do during the festival. One of those things is reading the Word, of course, studying the Word, and putting it not only in your head but in your heart as well, which means anytime you walk by any place you go, like the supermarket, your place of work, the congregation, or wherever you go, the movies, wherever you go, you should be a light. People should think or should feel that something's different in the environment. And it's you. If they don't feel it, then you need to be kind of reconsidering and moving on to checking up your heart and see what's going on there. So you're getting in touch with the Almighty anytime you do the festival. A festival according to the Lord. Not necessarily all the way rabbinic, but according to the Lord. So the connections, there's a connection I was telling you about the other day, last month, on the month of Shabbat. There's a connection between the 3 months. There's a link to all of them. And the main celebrations, of course, is the link. The main celebrations of each of the 3 last months in the biblical calendar are the 10th of Shevat, which is the fasting of Tevet. It's called Asara Bet Tevet, the 10th of Tevet, or Asara Bet Tevet, the 10th day of the Hebrew month of Tevet. 10:10 is easy to remember, just like Numbers 10:10, very easy to remember. It's a minor fast in Judaism. The fast commemorates the siege of Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylonia. Like other minor fasts, Asara Bet Tevet begins at dawn, first light, and ends at nightfall. Adar Bet Tevet was on last January the 7th. So don't worry about that now. And then we have, on Shabbat, we have Tu B'Shabbat, the 15th of Shabbat, the New Year of the Trees, which we celebrated in here with a lot of snow, by the way. And then on Adar, of course, it's the month of rejoicings, and we have Purim. And there are a few important celebrations that we should consider for this month of Adar, or situations or things that happened. The 7th of Adar was the day in which Moshe Rabbeinu, the biblical Moses, of course, was born, and also the day on which he died, exactly 120 years later. I always remind you about the 40-40-40 equation. Remember which 40 are you now? You can be 10, it can be 20, it can be 30. I don't know how long you're going to be here. We all have a due date. You know that? Yes, a due date. But we don't know which one is. But these guys, the Tzaddikim, the righteous ones, they knew when they were going to die. So he knew when he was going to die. There's a few in the Bible you can pick up. One of them is Yeshua, for those. And so, if you know when you're going to die, good for you. I mean, that means you're one of the top righteous ones. So I don't have 56 years old anymore. I don't have 56 years. I have none. I have 0. Starting at today, I have 1. I mean, you have today. Tomorrow doesn't exist. And 56 years are in the past. Whatever I did, whatever I say, whatever I walked to, whatever I did wrong or right, is in the past. But it's in the book. It's in one of the books. So you need to remember that. Those books will be open at the end of all times, right in front of you. You won't. And you're going to have a lawyer, and you're going to have an attorney trying to get you right on the fire. So, yeah, pay your duties now. And that's with music. You see that? So his burial place is unknown. We're talking about Moses again. We don't know where he was. With this, we can talk for about 2 hours, but we're not going to do that. This is based in Deuteronomy 34, 5-6. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab. Wow, it's interesting. Moab, I believe, this is my theory, Rabbi Rene 1:1, that Yeshua was in the same land when he was fasting, but I don't know. According to the word of, in the same place, Moab. Yeah. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, because it's in front, it's right across Israel, it's right in front of the Jordan. It's right there. So, but it was there. Moab, I think, is what is now the kingdom of Jordan, if I'm not mistaken. So according to the word of the Lord, and he buried him in the valley in the land of Moab opposite Beth Peor. But no one knows the place of his burial to this day. This is very interesting. Another important event that we have this year is the fast of Esther, Ta'anit Esther. The 13th of Adar is considered by the Jewish people a minor fasting day, and is based on the fast that Esther organized in order to prevent the decree of Ahasuerus of Persia, which consisted on the annihilation of the Jewish people of the entire kingdom. And it's interesting because this did not happen on Adar, and we'll read it eventually. It says in Esther 4:16, "Go gather all the Jews to be found in Shusha, and hold a fast on my behalf, and do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. And I and my young woman will also fast as you do. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." Esther 4:16. Very interesting. Then we have Purim. Purim is not Purim, people. It's Purim. Purim. Finished with an M, Purim. There are 4 requirements in Purim. We're not going to go throughout the whole Purim thing because we're going to celebrate it big in here at Bethel night, as we always do. Are you all right? Oh, I thought you were collapsing. Sorry. Here, one of the requirements is, the 4 main ones, is hear the story of Esther from the Bible. hear the story of Esther from the Bible, or the Megillah. I'm not going to talk about the Megillah today, but the Megillah is the scroll of Esther. Have a festive meal, of course, everybody wants a festive meal. Deliver food to friends and neighbors. So if you have friends and neighbors who, not necessarily are in a need of food, but if they are in a need of food, it's even better. Just, deliver food to your friends or neighbors. Just grab a couple things, and good things, of course, not cheap stuff, right? And just give it to them. And then another thing is give gifts to the poor. All is based in the book of Esther. It's from the Bible. It's not commanded, but it's a thing that we do. Then we also see very important portions of the Bible. It's called special Shabbatot, the 4 parashiyot. There are 4 special Sabbaths that derive their name from the additional Torah portions that is read when they occur each year. 2 are before Purim. One of them was read by Bobby last week, remember? That was Shabbat Shekalim, or Shekalim, it depends on your accent. It's Shekalim, not Shekalim. So, 2 of these special Sabbath readings are before Purim, and 2 are before Passover. It's very important to remember that these special Torah readings, added to regular weekly Torah readings, are in preparation of Pesach. So these readings remind us about Pesach, remind us what we need to do, especially with our hearts. That means we need to prepare our hearts then for the next holiday season. Because it's not just Pesach. Pesach is just the beginning of the things, the first and the second Pesach, and whatever other Pesach you might do during that week. That's a strong continuation of the festivals. The next one will be what? Counting the Omer, the first fruits, thank you. The first fruits, which is the resurrection of our Messiah, very important festival. And then you're going to have the counting of the Omer. And then what? Shavuot. All those 50 days are connected to each other. It's not just, Pesach, have some meal, have a cups of wine, and that's it. No, the whole season, the 50 days are a celebration of that. So, Shabbat Shekalim is read in preparation of Purim. Request each adult male Jew contribute half of the biblical shekel for the upkeeping of the tent of meeting. And that was and it was on February the 21st, last week. Then the next one will be Shabbat Zachor, or the Sabbath of Remembrance. It's the Shabbat immediately preceding Purim. Why is that? It's totally connected with Amalek. Destroy Amalek. Because this guy, hey man, this guy supposedly is a descendant from Amalek. So Amalek we are commanded to destroy, to kill Amalek. So who is Amalek? It's not just a few Muslims. It's not ISIS. It might be in your heart. So you got to be careful. If you have some hatred in your heart against somebody, against a race, a specific culture, a specific origins of people, you got to be careful. You might have Amalek in your heart. Okay? So I need to recheck my heart every day. Anytime you say, I hate this, boom, it's a flag. What is it that you hate? Wait a minute. What is it that you hate again? I mean, it's for you. It's for your own sake. You need to realize that, and then you need to ask for forgiveness. Ask for forgiveness. It's very important for us to do that. Very important. I don't want to be that part at the end of all times. I don't want to be, get away from me. I don't know you. I don't want to be in that group. It's just, what did I do, Lord? I thought I did a couple miracles. I thought I did the Rosh Chodesh every year, constantly. I thought I teach. I thought, you were hating something or somebody within your heart. So you need to be careful. So if somebody have a different political ideas of you, don't hate that person. Love them. Pray for them. Okay? Pray for them. Because guess what? All this politics will end up before you realize. It will end up. You never know. This coronavirus might be the end of the whole world, you know? You never know. Hey, whatever. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I don't care. I don't know if you do. I am. And so there are many things you need to be careful. That's why I'm bringing my own water, by the way. And I made my coffee with my own water. You know what I mean? I check all the time and wash my hands. And if I check your hand, then I wash it after, you know, whatever. I take my measures, you know. I'm like, yeah. But anyways, that's Shabbat Zachor, very important. Shabbat Parah. Shabbat Parah is the Sabbath of the red heifer. Takes place on the Shabbat before Shabbat HaChodesh. Shabbat HaChodesh, in preparation for Passover. That's in Numbers 19, 1-22. And describes the Para Adumah. And this is about cleaning, about purifying ourselves. Of course, we cannot do the Para Adumah anymore, the red heifer. But we can clean our hearts. See, all these portions is about cleaning our souls, getting ready for Pesach. When you sit in that table, you should be ready. You should already clean up everything within not only your house, your garage, your car. My car is a mess, by the way, and my garage, woohoo! But anyways, not only your places where you live, even your dog, you know, whatever, if you have cats. But my point is, your heart is more important. Your mind, your heart. Clean up. Destroy whatever is in there. Throw it away. Ask for forgiveness. Forgive somebody. Sometimes we don't forgive ourselves either. You need to forgive yourself as well. Then you got Shabbat HaChodesh. On Shabbat HaKadosh is the Sabbath of the month that is the holy Shabbat, precedes the first of the Hebrew month of Nisan, during which Passover is celebrated. That's Exodus 12, 1-20. That's the laws of Passover. On the first day of Nisan, God presented the first commandment ever, that is in the Bible, is right there, on how to sanctify the new moon, Kiddush HaKodesh, for the onset of Rosh Chodesh, and thus Nisan becomes the first month of the biblical calendar, counting by month. This year, Shabbat HaKodesh will begin at the sundown Friday 20th, March 2020. That's easy to remember, man. March 20th, 2020. 2020. You know, 3/20/2020. Very easy. So, and then I'd like to talk to you about these connections. We spoke last time about the connections between those 3 months, the festivals and so on. But it's a very important connection between Adar and Nisan. Okay? There's a link between those two. But I'd like you to see it with me. Well, it might be a deja vu. I don't know. I've been reading so much stuff that I might be crazy. You gotta tell me later. But this is very interesting. There's a good bunch of scriptures. These are some of them. It's just unbelievable. Esther 3:7. Now I have 3 different versions that I want you to see. I have 3 different versions in here. I have the Complete Jewish Bible. I have the New International Version. Some of you don't like it. I don't care, but we're going to read it. Then we have King James Version. I know a lot of you like this one. I like it too. I like all the versions of the Bible. I love them all. They all teach me something new. Who am I to say this Bible is no good, this Bible is whatever? You got to read it and then, let the Holy Spirit decide if what is there is right. If no, go back to the original and read it. That's what we're going to do that's what we're going to do in here. In the 3:7, Esther 3:7. We're going to read some scriptures, Esther, and I have some in there. I might just remember them it's a midrashim. Those are midrashim. It's a midrash. It's called Esther Rabbah. I'm going to pick a few from 8, 9, and 10 chapters. But in the meantime, we're going to read these. In the first month, I'm in 3:7. Look at this. Pick this. I mean, some people don't see it, right? In the first month, the month of what? Nisan, in the 12th year of Ahasuerus. It's giving you the date right there. It's giving you the date. The way they used to give you dates is different then than is today. Today is simple. You know, March 20th, 2020. Very simple. In ancient times, they need to go by the kings and kingdoms of the whatever was the ruler of the world. Okay, but they didn't see the ruler, but they see the ruler of the planet, but not the ruler of the universe. And so Ahasuerus is the one who is the king. And so it says, they began throwing pur. That is, they cast lots. See, this guy, I don't want to mention his name, this guy was very superstitious. He was very, very superstitious. There's a lot of midrashim about this guy. And same thing, Amalek, and all those guys were very superstitious. You got to be careful if you have superstitions within you as well. Talking about cleaning your own mind and heart. If you're superstitious, you need to be careful what you're believing or not. So this guy, every day and every month until the 12th month. So this, which is the month of Adar. So he started on Nisan to throw lots every day. And every month, man, this guy was so dedicated to destroy the Jewish people. But he was expecting some kind of demons, because the gods that are not our God are demons to me. And so these demons were kind of telling him what to do. So he was throwing lots. He says every day and every month, till the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. So he's doing that, right? Then he says to Ahasuerus, there is a particular people scattered and dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from those of every other people. Moreover, they don't observe the king's laws. It doesn't befit the king to tolerate them. If it please the king, have a decree written for their destruction, and I will hand over 330 tons of silver to the officials in charge of the king's affair to deposit in the royal treasury. Talking about bribe. He was bribing the king. I mean, I don't know how much is 330 tons of silver. That should be a lot of money, right? Even today. Can it be, I don't know, $20 million? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not Very, very good. I tell you what. I tell you the answer right now. I don't know. But he has that money somehow. He was probably getting it from, who knows. And then he says, the king took the signet ring, with that kind of money, right? It was like, okay, get it done. I gotta make sure I put this back on. I don't want to have any issues, Just get it done, Give him the signet ring for his hand and gave it to this guy, the son of Hamdallah the Hagagi, the enemy of the Jews. The king says to him, the money is given to you and the people too, to do with as seems good to you. I mean, the same money he's putting into the kingdom, he's investing. Some sort of like some politicians that invest their own money to do their campaigns, you know. This guy was doing the same thing. So that's old. That's really old. And so, you know, the story goes on and on and on. He decides what to do, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to move to Esther 4:16. This is a very interesting portion. We don't have hours to study this, but oh man, I can get a lot of good stuff, and I know I can get a lot of good questions from you, but I'm not going to answer them anyways. And so, so let me see something in here. Say, okay, 14. A copy of the document to be issued as a decree is in every. The decree was about destroying the Jewish people, right? Letters were sent by courier, that's 13, to all the royal provinces to destroy, kill, and exterminate all Jews from young to old, including small children and women. And on a specific day, that 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, and to seize the goods as plunder. There you go, that's your answer. That's where he was taking the money from. He was just, you know, I'm going to get that money from them. A copy of the document to be issued as a decree in every province was to be publicly proclaimed to all the peoples, so that they will be ready for that day. So this took a year, but it was going to get another year to be applicable. Okay, to be applicable, the law needs to be applicable within another year. Because remember, this guy was, I mean, his kingdom was there were no internet then, remember? There were no Wi-Fi. So they needed to have this guy in a horse, gallop all the way to India, all the way to Turkey, all the way to, I don't know, maybe even to Spain. I have no idea, Africa, all over the place. I mean, horse was the fastest way to go, right? I guess. I was not there. I don't think a donkey will run that, or a camel will run that. It all depends on the terrain, I guess. But it took a year to make the decision, and it took another year for that law to be applicable. Got it? That's what I understand from the text. And this creates confusion in the city, of course. I will get confused too. So then Mordecai persuades Esther to help out and so on. And the story goes on. I think in 4:16 we'll find the other thing I wanted to tell you about. Then Esther, you know, she was convinced by Mordecai, and she goes, okay, go gather together I'm reading from the NIV now. Go gather together all the Jews from who are in Susa, and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. And I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. I mean, we can go on and on and on and get, you know, the specific words for Rabbi David Foreman. This is the same words that Jacob says when he was giving Benjamin away with Judah, and he gets a connection between Yehuda, Jacob, and Benjamin. Since Mordecai is a Benjamite, so is Esther, they're Benjamites, and the Jews are Jacob, because remember, he was changed, his name was changed. The Yehudim, basically, are Jacob, because Mordecai is not a Yehudi, he is a Benjamite. You know, why Benjamites were so proud of it? He is the only guy who was born in the land, in the promised land. And that's why this guy, what's his name? Paul. Apostle Paul was so proud of it. I'm a Hebrews. I'm a Benjamite. It's like saying, I'm a U.S. citizen and you're not. I'm a Jamaican, yeah, man, and you're not, right? Or I'm a Jew and you're not. I believe in Messiah and you're not. You got to be careful where you're proud. I mean, you should be proud of who you are, but at the same time, do not try to diminish other people's beliefs or whatever they do. So, Benjamites were very important then. And remember, the first Messiah, one of the first Messiahs, was a Benjamite, King Saul, right? He was a Benjamite. He was probably gonna be, if he wouldn't sing, he would be the father of the Messiah, an ancestor of the Messiah. Messiah Yeshua will come from Benjamin. But he messed it up. And he chose then David after Saul. Because David, no matter what, he was always singing, whatever, yeah, whatever. He was always singing. He was being chased by the king, and he didn't care. He was with his shoes on his shoulder, walking away. Well, he got 300 strong, though. Anyhow, then let's move to, she makes a banquet. The banquet, that's in 5:14, I think. No. Well, she creates a banquet, right? And in the banquet, but the good thing is, okay, there's three days. But I'm telling you, we just read on chapter 7 that this is in Nisan. So they're getting ready for what? For Pesach. And she's asking all the Jews to fast. You're not supposed to fast when you're rejoicing. That's why you don't fast in Shabbat. Right? So the Midrash comes with a thing. Let me see if I can find it. The Midrash Rabbah. So go gather everyone. And then Mordecai sent to her. He sent a message to her. Behold, in them is the first day of Pesach. So it's the Erev Pesach in between. How are you going to fast on Pesach when the commandment is for you to eat the matzah bread, right? So how are you going to fast? Right? She says to him, the elder of Israel, what is Pesach? So the elder of Israel is asking, hey, wait a minute. It's Pesach coming up. Why you want us to fast? And then the whole thing is, a lot of English that I can't read in there. It's ancient English. But the whole thing is about, Esther is responding to him like, okay, you can celebrate, but in a month, you're all going to be killed. Or in a year, So it's not going to be Jews anymore. Not in a month, but in a year. And this decree is going to be distributed before that day. So by that day, everybody should be killed. Do you think they're going to starve the same day? They might start before, just like the Holocaust. I hated to call it Holocaust. Holocaust is something holy to me. The Shoah happened, the Nazis prepared it for many years before the so-called, what you might call it, the day they make the decision to destroy the Jewish people. It was like a conference, like a business conference deciding how to kill millions of people. That's crazy. So that's what's going on here. So it's just like, okay, whatever. You can fast and celebrate Pesach, but there's not going to be Jews in a year anyways. I'm going to talk to the king. So you see a Benjamite talking to Jacob, right? And Yehuda. We want to see who's Yehuda is there, But, all right, let's move on to, they doing that. They go, the thing is, she gave banquets. She gave 2 banquets. Have you realized that? But before that, this is very interesting. Before that, there's the first banquet, And then after that, there is this guy with Mordecai. See, I don't want to even mention his name. But this guy is with Mordecai, and he's getting, as a king, he's getting honors, right? Hey, here's this guy who is the king, and blah, 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 giving him honors like a king, like a great governor. So I want you to think about Yeshua at this moment. I want you to think, okay, this is happening on Nisan. It's not happening on Adar. This is happening next month, according to the book of Esther. We celebrated this month, but this happened the next month. Got it? While you are celebrating or getting ready for Pesach, this is happening. Okay? And so, when you parallel all these events with the gospel, I call it the gospel, you know that. I don't call it gospels. There's one gospel with 4 different versions of the gospel. To me, it's one gospel. That's what the Bible says. Anyways, it's the gospel, when you read it and you compare these events, you parallel them, you're like, wait a minute. Yeshua was getting into Jerusalem as a king. Remember? Hoshiana, Hoshiana. They were, wait a minute. Hoshiana in Hebrew. Hosanna in your language. And so, and so they go in. So I'm like, wait a minute. This is like a deja vu, right? It sounds like a deja vu. The difference is there is not a Yehudi, a descendant of Jehudah that is in there, but it's a descendant of Benjamin. Right? So it's Benjamin, but he is also a Yehudim, because he's from the southern area of Judah. The kingdoms were divided there. Okay, so this guy gets so mad. And then comes the advice of his wife, right? I can say that name. You're going to boo it too? Zeresh, his wife. And all his friends says to him, have gallows, 75 feet. I mean, I'm a little mad with this version, the complete Jewish Bible. I mean, I love it, but I'm a little mad with this because I was looking at it's an 8. It's not a gallows. You know, gallows, let me show you some pictures of the gallows. Some of them are really, this. That's the Western tool of execution. Do you hear me? It's the Western tool of execution, which was a little more merciful than the execution poles they had. They used to impale, according to the archaeologists, if you can see those creatures hanging in there, they used to, and I'm not going to show you the other pictures I got. I was like, whoa. Even though they're drawings, I was like, whoa, that's horrible. That's the way they used to execute people. Aren't those horrible? Those are horrible. Impale. They used to impale them. Or nail them down. Nail them down, okay? There's a few different kinds of trees, poles, stakes, or crosses, if you want to call them crosses. In modern times of the Romans, it was a little different now. They were still cruel. So, let's go back to the banquet. That's better, right? So she is like, now, this is what the NIV says. His wife Zeresh and all his friends says to him, have a pole set up reaching to 8 to 50 cubits. I mean, they were worried in this other version to change the height, but they weren't worried about to change the proper word. It's supposed to be pole, a pole set up. And asked the king in the morning to have Mordecai impale on it. And this other version, it says hang on it. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Now this suggestion delighted this guy, and he had the pole set up. I mean, that was horrible, right? Now, the banquet where Esther, I'm sorry, Ruth is somebody else. Ruth is a friend of mine, and so is Sylvia, Ruth Sylvia. But anyways, the banquet, are you following me? I have my mind all over the place. But you follow me, Esther is following the banquet twice. Why? Because she's in the diaspora, right? That's why we celebrate Pesach twice. Because in the diaspora you do the first Pesach and the second Pesach, right? And so she's celebrating it twice. And then Jacob, Israel, the Jews, are about to die. Okay? And Mordecai will be the first one to die. Okay? Mordecai, who was supposed to be one of the types of Moshiach, because he was from Benjamin. It didn't happen that way. Of course, it didn't happen that way. But, and then the King James, it says, hang, and it says gallows too. Of course, it's the King James, right? King James, a very Western version of the Bible. So this is Yeshua celebrating his last Seder at the same time, many, many years later. And we're gonna look at some of the things. Where's my thing? Right here. I'm not even reading my notes. Can you believe it? The Midrash Rabbah also talks about when Mordecai was going to be found by Haman. You forgot, right? Anyway, good. That's good. He's going to get Mordecai, and Mordecai, according to the Midrash Rabbah, he is Esther Rabbah. He is gathering with his people, his disciples. He got disciples. He was a teacher of Israel, so he got disciples, and they says, according to the Esther Rabbah, they says, we're gonna die for you. Don't worry about it. We just gonna die for you. He says, no, run away, go away. Very similar that what happened to Yeshua, our Messiah, right? They were going to see him, and they wanted to defend him, and eventually they ran away. They're all scattered away. Same thing happened to Mordecai's disciples, according to Esther Rabbah. And then you have, you see Esther banquet twice, and then the whole story. He got hung in the place and everything. Many, many years passed. Yeshua is in this banquet, and he got nailed onto a cross. This time for good, for the salvation of all of us, for the Yehudim, for Benjamin, for Jacob, for all the tribes, and for everyone who gathered the tzitzi of the Messiah. Okay? In the book of Proverbs 34, it says, who has gone up to heaven and come down? Who has cupped the wind in the palms of his hands? Who has wrapped up the waters in his cloth? Who established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? Surely you know. And this is Proverbs, people. Proverbs 34 in the Tanakh. The Apostles' theology is consistent with the idea of Yeshua being at the right hand of the Father, which is quoted in the written record versions of the Gospel. But in other books in the Apostolic, it says, stiff-necked people and uncircumcised hearts and ears. You continually oppose the Ruach HaKodesh. You do the same things your fathers did. which of the prophets did your fathers not persecute? They killed those who told in advance about the coming of the Tzaddik. And now you have become his betrayers and murderers, you who received the Torah as having been delivered by angels, but do not keep it. So we got to be careful, Messianic people. We got to be careful. We have the Torah, and we have Yeshua. Isn't it a great treasure? Isn't it a great thing we have? See, the Orthodox Jews, they only have the Torah. They don't have Messiah yet. They believe in the Messiah, but knowing our Messiah, Yeshua, they still expecting for him as a man, not as God. And the other peoples, Christendom, they have Yeshua, but they don't have the Torah. We have both. And we're not here to learn how to be Jewish or how to be Christians, but how to be followers of the Messiah, Yeshua. He is the one who paid the ultimate price for all of us. Okay? He is the one we need to follow too. So there's a connection. It is a deja vu? I don't know. You just look for yourself. Read the gospel tonight and read the book of Esther carefully. And you'll find the same pictures. God is there and so is Messiah. And it's not hidden. For us, the believers, nothing is hidden in the Bible. Everything is revealed. All you got to do is read it, study it, put it in your head and in your heart and practice it. Especially if you have hate in your heart. You got to destroy Amalek. And you got to do it immediately. 1 Peter 1:18-20 says, you should be aware that the ransom paid to free you from the worthless way of life which your fathers passed on to you did not consist of anything perishable like silver or gold, like this guy was doing to the king. On the contrary, it was the costly, bloody, sacrificial death of the Messiah, as of a lamb without defect or spot. It's like a lamb, okay? God knew him before the founding of the universe, but revealed him in the Acharit Hayamim for your sakes. Colossians 3:1-3. So if you were raised along with the Messiah, then seek the things above, where the Messiah is sitting at the right hand of God. Focus your minds on the things above, not on things here on earth. No, of things here on TV, on internet, on whatever else, on sports, on politics. If you follow it, it's okay. 10 minutes for me is enough. 10 minutes, okay, I know what's going on. The same thing is going to be repeating over and over and over and over the whole day long. And then you got to your bed all mad, and your wife will ask you, what are you mad of? Because I've been hearing this guy talking and blah, blah. You might lose your marriage for something like that. So, 10 minutes, okay, I know, whatever. It says here, focus your minds on the things above, not on things here on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with the Messiah in God. Wow, these words are powerful, very powerful. We shall die just like the seed dies. Last month we were talking about that. Remember? See how good God is with us? He gets a plan for us. And he repeats that plan every year for us to understand it. But we got to focus on sports. There's a good guy who just died, right? But he's being on TV every single day. When I'm going to die, I'm not going to be on TV. I'm not famous as he is, but, hello, get over it. Yes, may his whole soul be with God. Great, keep going. You'll see Messiah putting him all over. As a conclusion, I have a couple verses more, and then we'll finish. Your boasting is not Boasting is not good. That's 1 Corinthians 5:6-8 from the Complete Jewish Bible. Don't you know the saying, it takes only a little chametz to leaven a whole batch of dough? Get rid of the old chametz so that you can be a new batch of dough. Because in reality, you are unleavened. For our Pesach lamb, the Messiah, has been sacrificed. So let us celebrate the Seder, not with leftover chametz, the chametz of wickedness and evil, but with the matzah of purity and truth. That's what we need to be focused on. So let's prepare our hearts to receive the spring holidays. I mean, these are the favorite ones of everyone, right? It's spring, it's flowery, it is nice, the weather improves, and so the allergies, in my case. So, but it's a great, it's a great time, great season. Get ready, get your hearts ready. Do all the preparations. It's okay, the traditions and all of that. It's awesome. But get your hearts more ready than anything else. Purim is important not only to eat good Jewish food, but also to remember that God is in the business of redemption. And that on that time, He rescued the Jewish people from being wiped out the planet, and He's rescuing us now, today, from the coronavirus. Okay? And some guys from the coronas, you know what I'm talking about. So don't use too much coronas and get it as an excuse. So are you ready to receive Him in your heart? Are you ready? Are you ready for Pesach? So right now, when you celebrate Purim, you're going to mentalize that happened on Nisan. Okay? And it's paralleling with the life of Yeshua the Messiah. Would you stand up with me? I'd like to pray for you. Father Avinu, in the name of Yeshua, we come to your presence and would like to ask you for your forgiveness. Forgive our sins, O Lord. Help us not to hate. Help us, O Lord, to love. But more important, help us to pray for our enemies. Your word says, pray for your enemies. Help us, O Lord, to be more prayerful and to reason in the prayers and find out in our hearts what's going on so we can receive the Pesach with a pure heart. So when we eat the matzah, we're going to be pure as the matzah is. Thank you, Father, and bless your heart, oh Father. Bless your holidays. And thank you for this month of rejoicing. We rejoice in you, O Lord. Thank you for everything you're doing. I'd like you to bless everyone in this place and everyone that is watching us online and everyone who is going to be watching us eventually. Thank you for everything, Father. And Father, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, I ask you to help us to get ready for your celebrations. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.